What is going on, movie meals? We all just woke up. You can tell by my hair. Uh, because I was like, we're doing this early. And Kyle was like, I don't wanna. I wanna sleep. And then Kyle was the first one up, the first one ready, while Tanner and I were sleeping.
Hey, I'll be annoying about it, but I'll show up. I'll
Good
complain, but
man.
I'll be on time.
We are
Whoops.
here, the Mandalorian after show. I am ready. What was the name of this episode? That's how early it is.
Tragedy,
The tragedy.
which
Say like the fallen or
had
something.
me real worried right from the opening of the gate.
Oh, let's just get into that. When I saw the title, The Tragedy, the first thing I thought of, because there's all those rumors that there might be a flashback to Order 66.
Oh
That
yeah.
was the first thing I thought of. I was like, we're going to get a flashback. The tragedy means the fall of the Jedi. He's going to meet somebody in the Force, and we're going to get a flashback. Didn't happen, and I am here for it because I loved this episode. Guys, what did you think? We'll start with Kyle since he was on time. Kyle, what did you think of this episode?
Boys, I'm pissed off by this episode. No Spy Kid references. No Shark Boy and Lava Girl references.
Yep.
It's
None of it.
ridiculous. Robert Rodriguez, get out of here. You shouldn't be. No, I'm kidding.
That
I'm
is
kidding.
a
I thought
mistake.
I thought he did a very excellent job. It was mostly an episode filled with a lot of action in it, and it was only like a pretty short one for this show, like 30 minutes. But hey,
Yep.
from start to finish, I was loving it. I was loving seeing stormtroopers like actually, get the crap beaten out of them. Like they don't just fall down, like helmets are flying everywhere, and their armor is being shattered. But I thought this was a good episode that kind of raised the stakes a bit on the trajectory of this show. Granted, it was some stuff that our predictions we nailed. Great job, guys. But
Yeah.
We have been
You
pretty
nailed
on point.
but
Yeah.
despite that, though, I'm still able to be hooked by this show. I thought it was a lot of fun, especially this episode, and I'm ready to see what the consequences are going to be after this episode. So you guys take it away.
Tanner, what'd you think?
Overall, I thought the episode was pretty good. There was a lot of like really hype moments and reveals that I was all about and all on board. Though I do have some criticisms to level, particularly towards this episode, mostly to do with the action sequences as like a directorial level. Because I mean, like some of them I loved, but others I was just like, well, that was a weird choice. And then. But I mean, overall, between like the beginning of the episode and the end of the episode, I absolutely loved. But yeah, that's kind of my general thoughts on it right now. I've got a lot more to dive into on it.
I loved this episode because I just eat it up. I'll drink whatever they give me. I want it. I loved the episode. I loved the action. I mean, the only thing I probably didn't like was the lack of Spy Kids and Shark Boy and Lava Girl
Thank
teases.
you.
I thought Robert did a very good job. It was shorter. It didn't feel shorter watching it to me. I felt like I watched a longer episode. But I really liked we were stuck on one place. I like that we were on a planet. We don't necessarily see that type of environment when we go to Star Wars. It's usually desert or snow. Or for crazy forest, and I like this more of a mountain scene. Mando did move pretty dang quick up those mountains and down. If we're gonna go with the Game of Thrones complaint of wanting to see every little moment of walking,
I thought he was slow.
but no,
Too slow.
I loved it. The second he took his jetpack off and
it never came
set it
back
down,
to him.
I know. I was like, this is a mistake, Mando. You gotta get the jetpack back on. But overall, I really like this episode. So, Tanner, since you got a lot more to dive into, let's just start with one of your big ones there. What do you got?
Well, I tell you what, dude, I was grinning ear to ear with the first scene we get with little baby Grogu and little Din he's giving the good chuckles as he goes, Grogu, and Grogu goes, huh?
Yeah, the opening scene was super awesome. I really liked it.
Love
Very
that
cute.
scene.
I like that they're doing that with the last couple episodes because we had him fixing the wires We're getting these like little dad kid moments, and it's relatable, it's cute, it's really good. I like it.
I'm really happy that they're adding it in there. And to be honest, I know they're not much, but it really feels like it's just adding more to the character of Din Djarin.
Goes along.
Yeah.
And it's really fleshing him out, and I really, really like that.
Completely agree.
Then we land on the planet of Tython, was actually a pretty old cut Star Wars reference from the extended canon and also Knights of the Old Republic. Actually, they talk about
the name.
That's where they talk about Tython being one of the first Jedi Temple areas. That's what they specifically decided to go with the like Stonehenge look on the on that particular like area up there, which I thought was actually pretty cool.
Is that what it is?
What, Kyle?
Oh, I was just saying temple. Is that the word we can use for this?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was
Monument.
The temple, and I like that it was a different style temple, because a lot of Rebels and Clone Wars, when they go to temples, tend to be caves, pyramids, and so I really liked that this was kind of real old school. It was just, hey, we're gonna meditate on a very peaceful rock. The butterflies flying around made a lot of sense. Was really great. Had a lot of deep cuts. But Tanner's getting fired up about it. I love it.
So I don't know if you guys are aware of at first I saw those little blue butterflies, and I'm like, I feel like I've seen those before. And I did a little bit more research to find out that yes, they're actually used quite a bit throughout Star Wars canon. Used for a lot of and their reference for them is viewed for a lot of like cycle of rebirth or renewal is a lot of the references that they make to them. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more theory crafting on that one, because that is a very recent development for me. But it has me thinking of like where Grogu might be going, like what kind of a renewal he might be going through. It's interesting. But then the pedestal that he goes up and sets little baby Grogu on the pedestal, and he's like, do the thing. Just do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys noticed on the little writing on the side of the pedestal, there was no actual, like, I tried to do a little bit of a translation on it, but so far from what everyone said, it's just too hard to actually discern on there. I think I picked up a J. Maybe
I didn't notice.
A for Jedi in there.
Yeah.
No clue what it could have said.
But then, dude, the moment we get a cut, like they do a little bit of a shot change and they show a little bit more of the blue sky, all of a sudden you see the fire spray coming down, and I lost my shit.
Yeah, let's get into Boba. The cool thing about it is, just because of how iconic that score is or not the score, the noise, the sound that they use for his ship.
Yeah.
And the way that it's used in the prequels. I mean, I didn't even need to see it. I heard it, and I was like, oh my gosh. It was such a, because Kyle was prediction was right. We've been decent on our story predictions where we kind of think it's going, but they still managed to subvert expectations a little bit, because I was expecting, hey, we're not going to be here long, and then the Empire is coming. Moff Gideon is on his way. And so the Boba Fett one was a nice surprise, because we'd only seen the tease in the first episode. And I honestly kind of forgot he might be a bigger part of this. Like I could have seen Dave Filoni and Johnny Favs just saying, no, he's just the tease. We just wanted to build him up. But when he comes down, it was really cool. And so, yeah, let's dive into it. What do you guys think of Boba Fett coming back?
Go for it, Kyle.
Surviving the Sarlacc pit.
I think expectations were met. I think a lot of Star Wars fans, they think of him as this really cool, mysterious, badass type character. And though, like, we aren't really given much to his character, like any more details than we need of his character, like, it's proven to us that he is such a badass character, even though he died so suddenly in Return of the Jedi. So I think when it comes to those expectations, like, those were met very well. And for a casual like me, I still thought it was pretty cool. Like, it's not where I need to know anything more about him, but knowing that, he's alive and out there, and he still is as cool as we were hoping for him to be, that's enough for me. So seeing him like calm and collected, but swinging swinging his stick or whatever it was when he needs stick. To his happy stick. I thought that was pretty cool. So I really liked how his action scenes were done. I don't know if they'll be different for other directors if we do continue with Boba Fett down the road, but for what I saw out of this, like there was some really cool stuff that they did that I think met fans' expectations.
Yeah.
Tanner, what did you think?
Dude, the minute I heard Tamia Morrison's voice, it was like, I'm getting chills right now, man. Oh, this is so good.
Same.
And then they start to like kind of get into the rigmarole, and it's just like old hat. One of my favorite lines that he actually ends up putting out, he's like, Mandalorian ends up asking him like, who are you? It's like, I'm just a simple man trying to make his way in the galaxy. Which is a reference that his father made back in Clone Wars when he's like, I'm just a simple man trying to make his way in the universe.
I loved it when he said that line. I lost it.
Oh,
I lost it.
So good. And it's just like he really does bring that air when he drops into the scene of like, oh, exactly what's going down. Also, not to mention, like, the dude is just looks beaten and battered. He got out of the Sarlacc pit, so mad props to him.
Yeah.
But then they, to be honest, I was actually, Boba's kind of, as far as we know, he's been a relatively ruthless bounty hunter. Though the Clone Wars does bring a little bit more of a human side to him, I must say. But I was a little surprised at the beginning. I was a little surprised as to, him just not being like, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and do this. Fennec, go ahead and take the shot, and I'm going to get my armor back. So, but it was still kind of that Western standoff moment of like, well, we've got a predicament here. Maybe we can make a deal. And I like that. I like that a lot.
When he pulls out the birds on the wrist and they all light up, and he's like, no, look, I will win this fight if you don't knock it off. And then all of a sudden Boba's like, all right, I'll make you a deal. I'll protect the baby if you give me my armor. Like, I love that. That was the Western moment was awesome. The standoff was great. And the fact that Mando's like, look, old man, I'll take you out. Like, I'm not afraid to. This is my boy I got to protect here. This is my Grogu.
I just found out his name.
Yeah, I have Look, man, I've also been waiting forever to find out more about this little guy, and I finally did it. Don't take this from me.
I have 50 years of alimony checks I need to catch up on, man.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going, Tanner. What else?
Let me. I know a lot of fans are probably. I haven't really kind of been on social media talking or like listening to what people have been saying about this episode. I am curious as to see if there'll be any backlash on Fennec coming back. Actually, I personally love the fact that that she came back because I love the actress. She just kills it, and I was so sad from last season when she ends up getting like just glowed, and I'm like, well, man, I wanted to actually hopefully see some more of her, so it was actually pretty cool to have her come back.
Yeah, I didn't see a single thing upset that she was back, but I remember when she was killed, everyone was upset that she wasn't going to be a bigger part of this story. I remember there was a big, huge, massive social media complaint about people wanting her to be involved in more. So I think people are just excited she's back. I liked her being back. Explanation makes sense. I mean, we've seen that a million times. How many hands do we have to lose in Star Wars to know that you can get pretty hurt and be okay? I mean, Anakin was cut in half and lit on fire. Well, yeah. She lost his stomach, but I was for it. I liked her coming back.
Same.
Kyle, how did you feel about her coming back?
No, same with me. I was fine with her coming back. I thought that she was a pretty good character too. Her revealing that she has like robot parts now or something. I was like, oh, Okay. I mean, it's Star Wars, but like that's kind of weird to see that. But
Especially like a stomach flap that she
yeah,
like.
exactly. I guess it was the stomach flap part. Like I figured to be, like an arm, like she lost an arm or something. But like, oh,
Right.
I'm a robot. Like, oh, geez,
Well, she
okay.
got
But
shot right in the tummy.
I guess that's true. I just wasn't really thinking about it until like she did. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know why, but yeah, no, I like that she's back. I like that actress too.
Stomach turns into a T-800.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk? All right. Well, actually, real quick, Boba. So for Boba Fett, for me, I loved him coming back. I really liked the action with him. I loved how ruthless he was. He looked like an. It reminded me, quite a lot of Logan. It reminded me of that kind of style. We've got this old vet who is sick of what has happened to him. He is tired of what has happened to the people around him. He is tired of all of that. And so he's just become ruthless. And I really liked that. It was violent. It was intense. I liked him swinging his little happy stick around and taking guys out. I thought it was really great. I like the deal he made with Mando. I like that it's continuing, and we are probably getting our Magnificent Seven kind of style here, and he's going to go round up the troops to go get him back. There's a lot of deeper connectivity we'll get into, but let's kind of get through this episode first, too. So now let's get to the Empire shows up. They've now teamed up. How did we feel? I loved Boba Fett taking him out. I loved Fennec coming in and taking him out. Loved the rock sequence. Thought that was great. Tanner's got some a word I can't think of since I just woke up. Tanner, what's your issues?
What's your beef, man?
I love.
Where's the beef?
When we open up with the action sequence, I loved it. We get Boba with his cycler rifle and Fennec and Mando just like taking shots from a distance. And then shortly afterwards we see the stormtroopers get up a little bit closer and Boba starts pulling out his gaffy stick. And I was all about that first gaffy stick scene. Because he's got such an angry look on his face. We see pieces flying off the stormtrooper. He is the way that it is like cutting and shooting. I was so in there. And then we get a lot of Fennec scenes that start to show up afterwards, where there's two different shots where she's so literally surrounded by stormtroopers, and she's just in the middle of the open, just turning around, quick scoping guys like they're nothing. And then they go and set up the E11. They go and set up the E11 blaster. And she's running on the top of a ridge line as this thing's just like taking shot after shot after shot, and we see the little pyrotechnics going off on the side of the rock. Again, this kind of circles back to a criticism that I think I brought up 2 episodes ago of sometimes when stormtroopers show up, it just you don't, there's no tension. It's just like, all right, here's gonna be the bad dude that I just take out, we're good to go, no problem.
Yeah.
And I really got that this episode. Then we get a third shot of Fennec being like wide out in the open, literally surrounded by stormtroopers as they're like, oh, we just want, like, we don't want you, we just want the kid. And then Mando steps in and he's like, no, I got you. And then all of a sudden he starts taking all the hits to like, as they're just out in the middle of the open. And followed up by Boba comes up with his little gaffy stick. And then this is a very Star Wars moment as he like taps him on the shoulder and then just like goes to town.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that one felt a little excessive because it's like, I'm not entirely sure how he got to that position. Olivia described it as the action kind of felt like almost like a Marvel movie. That these guys are superheroes, but I guess in my mind it's a little bit more of like they're Star Wars characters and they're supposed to be really cool, but it's not. They're not supposed to feel like superheroes to me. Maybe, like stick to cover, make some interesting shots, some interesting decisions, use some other really intricate devices that we know that they have. And then also, I was actually a little bummed that they didn't actually use the landers, like the little blasters. I don't know if you guys noticed the little blasters on the side of the lander.
I don't recall.
There's these
Oh yeah.
there's these like two dual little blasters that are on the front of a lander, and I was like, man, it would have been really cool if we had had like two different planes of action where there's like these guys that are getting held up by stormtroopers duking them out, while all of a sudden one of the landers decides to come up and start taking shots at them as well, while either Fennec or Boba runs out into the Slave One, gets up into the air, and then just starts taking those things out like they're nothing. Though,
Classic Star Wars moment that would have been too.
yeah,
Having the air fight and the fight on the ground.
it would have been wicked. Though I mean, like I'm not the director. I can't be too critical of like, oh, they should have done this. But I guess it just kind of unfortunately I would say half of the fight sequences just felt like they kind of took the air away from me, unfortunately. Just feeling as though that they leaned a little bit too much into the camp, and I really wish they would have gone a little bit more towards the realism side of things. But I mean, then like the moment that Boba Fett gets his armor back on and then just starts going to town, I was all on board with that. Man, that was awesome.
Kyle, what did you think of the action sequence? Oh, sorry, Tanner. You can continue. I thought you were done.
Oh, my last bit for it was the and then the last bit is like he does that, and then the stormtroopers take off running. I'm like, man, I don't know. Anyways,
Kyle, what do you think?
Well, I've expressed this too. I'm on the side with Tanner of like sometimes if a scene with stormtroopers like really extends itself, then like the belief of someone being in danger isn't there anymore, because you know through history how stormtroopers usually act. So like with this episode and it being so stormtrooper centric, like, you know, there wasn't really a moment where I thought these characters could be in danger until, you know, the end of the show when, you know, Grogu gets taken, but we'll talk about that more later. But I thought it worked for me for the most part because of how Rodriguez was attacking these stormtroopers. Like it didn't feel like the classic, oh, hit a bit, I'm gonna fall and roll a couple of times. Like, you know, the armor was getting shattered. Like guys were like doing 5 flips at once. But
yeah,
I think that's also part of the camp that you're mentioning about to some degree, because when it comes to like Rodriguez movies, like he usually has a lot of campiness involved in them. At least I do. Like if you see like his history of work, like sometimes action can for him can be a bit over the top. So you know, I think with that type of director and like this type of show, like it's a hard line to find how to direct like the realisticness of the action that they're trying to go with, but at the same time keep like Rodriguez's usual campiness within action. So it was weird. Like it was this weird like jumble of like all those different tones just for a bit of an action or a lot of an action sequence, because that took up most of the episode. But I think because of how he was just beating the crap out of stormtroopers so much, like I was able to be a lot more okay with it as compared to, oh, what was it, episode 3 or 4 or something, when you and I were both like, the disbelief is there when it comes to like battling stormtroopers.
It's just I'll sorry Al.
No, you're good.
I'll let you finish, but first
My turn.
No, it's actually just coughing. I had a drink out of my giant jug here.
I guess there's just a little bit of juxtaposition of like what was the episode with Bo-Katan? I loved the stormtroopers.
The third episode, like, right? I think.
I enjoyed that fight sequence a bit more, I guess. I thought that one was wonderfully shot.
Yeah, but then, it totally was.
And then then we get the scene. The one that I think I brought up that complaint specifically was
was it the hallway?
Not the hallway scene in that episode, but it was the one with Grief Karga and Cara Dune. When they're, what is that, episode 5?
No, I think that's 4. I think that's the next episode.
Yeah. The Grief, when like that episode when they're getting like chased by TIE fighters and they're just running around, hallway to hallway, just like, you're dead, and you're dead, and you're dead. That's where I think it doesn't work. It didn't work as much. But like all this, you know, you think of the Bo-Katan episode, they're taking them out really well. and they get held up by like 4 or 5 stormtroopers. And then all of a sudden, like Boba's like, this is gonna suck. Okay, I'm gonna get some bombs, and you guys cover me. And he runs in, just taking shot after shot after shot, and bins it all away. Whereas this one, it was a little bit more of like, I've got your back, and then he just stands out there with the hero pose,
just walks in the middle of the fire, and yeah.
I think.
Anyways,
I think that comes more from Robert Rodriguez. I think that's more on him than anything wanting that to happen. I loved any of the action with Boba Fett specifically, like when it was him taking guys out. I was here for it. The fact that he's crushing stormtroopers' helmets, I absolutely loved it. I agree with you. I didn't mind when Mando shows up and kind of protects her. I'm all for Mando taking a lot of shots. I know he doesn't want to, because the more he takes, the worse his armor will get. But he has this season kind of bragged about it now that he's got it. He's like, look, I'm full Beskar now, guy. Like, I can take you out.
I'm unstoppable.
The shot I really do agree with you is when she's running on the open mountain and the big gunner is just barely missing her. It looked cool. But it looked like more of something I see in a Power Rangers movie. And I agree with you there. When she was behind the rock, I liked it a lot because she felt trapped. And the second I saw the big rock, I knew it was going to go down. So that was a moment I really liked. When Boba shows up with his armor, though, I lost it. I was so excited. And it's because we haven't really seen him really go to town before. I mean, we not in live action, not in this way. And it was awesome to see him just show up, using every gadget he's still got. I thought it was great. Whips the thing down, takes him out. I loved that. That was a great, I thought, piece of Star Wars humor when he was like, dude, great shot. And he's like, I was aiming for the other one, man. Like, that's Star Wars humor done very well to me. I thought all the Boba stuff one was great. And then getting to it when the Razor Crest goes and they destroy it, I literally was like, oh man, like this is serious. We are getting serious, because they just took out his ship. Like, I have fallen in love with the Razor Crest. Like, this is one of my favorite Star Wars ships, and it's gone. And when she looks at him, she's like, dude, Boba, I'm going to get your ship here, guy. And he's like, oh my God. And he like takes off. I loved that. I loved getting to see the Death Troopers. I thought, was it right? Death Troopers.
Dark Troopers.
Yeah. Dark Troopers. I knew I was off by a couple letters. Dark Troopers were awesome. Them coming down, snagging Baby Yodes, whipping up. And I love that at first Boba's like, look, I can take them all out right now. And Mando's like, wait a minute. They've got my Grogu. Don't be killing my Grogu. And I like that Boba got it. I like the kind of back and forth they had where he's like, all right, I'm going to do a loose follow, see what's up. Gets up there. Empire is back. I love that, the way that's written, and I love the way that's handled and the way they talked about it. The Empire is back. It's been years after the fall. They are still around. This isn't just hired guns or a broken up piece of it. This is the Empire. And let's just get right into the nerdiness. So 2 things I've got for you. One, we didn't get any sort of flashback, any sort of Jedi that comes in to talk to Grogu. What did you think about that? What do you think is going to happen with that? And then 2, is Moff Gideon taking him to Grand Admiral Thrawn? And like, where do we go from here? Like, what do you think? Is this going to be how he's made? Like, is this how the Snoke bodies are being made for Palpatine to control? Because we already kind of gotten a little tease where it looks like that might be what they're doing. What do you guys think is going to happen moving forward? And also, what did you think of Baby Yoda going complete Sith and picking up stormtroopers and just Grogu just slamming them and throwing them? Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, I love that scene with Esposito too, where he's just like, "Oh, are you getting very sleepy now, little baby?" Like, it was great. Oh. I just asked a lot and brought up a lot, but what did you guys think of all that?
Go for it, Kyle.
Well, that last part with Baby Yoda, awesome. Like, totally love that. As for when we'll see this Jedi that he's trying to contact, I feel like that could be season 3.
Or
Yeah.
does he show up in
Either.
the Magnificent Seven episode we're about to get?
Sorry, what was that?
Or does he show up in the Magnificent Seven episode we're about to get? Or he or she?
I think if he or she does, it will be the last episode of this season. But I could see it to where they try to push that out a lot more, and that becomes like a big season 3 arc.
There's 2 left.
Right.
There is 2 left. That's right.
So it could even be a tease where at the very end, it's some Jedi just standing on a mountain.
Getting on a mountaintop
signal.
He's like, what's that giant beam over there?
It's just this. It's
a fish lens, and it's a fish lens camera, so he's really up close.
And JJ directed it, so there's lens flares everywhere.
Alex with his bed head just sitting on top of the robe, going, "Hi,
I'm the Jedi." What was your second question? Something about Admiral Thrawn?
What do you think is going on from here? Because it ends, first of all, the internet was ablaze with the thumbnail. The thumbnail of the episode is Mando talking to Gina Carano. And she has been canceled by the internet. So the internet was like, oh, look at Dave Filoni and Robert Rodriguez and John Favreau. And they're teased here because I even thought that, I didn't necessarily think, oh no, we're going to be back with her. My thought was, okay, this isn't what I was expecting. We're going to get the team, was my first thought when I saw it, and that isn't what happens. And when they meet, we pretty much, I think she's done. She says, look, I can't do stuff like that anymore. I got to follow the rules. I've got these stripes now. Delivered very badly. I did not like her delivery of the lines, but it tells us that Bill Burr is coming back, and I liked Bill Burr.
Yeah.
And my question,
that was my stand-up and cheer moment. You guys had Boba Fett, I have Bill Burr.
Is the next episode, because I think it's going to be getting the band together and then going and finding Grogu. I don't want the next episode to be just Boba Fett and Mando going through a prison and getting him out. I don't want the whole episode to be him getting out.
You don't want a prison break episode?
We've already had a prison break episode with Bill Burr. I don't really want to do another one where we're getting Bill Burr out of prison, where it took the whole episode. And I liked that first episode, but we just lost Grogu. And I don't really want to get too sidetracked. Normally, I'm okay with the sidetracking because it makes sense for a bounty hunter. People are like, look, if you want something from me, I need your services. You're that good. But now it's like, all right, let's just it's Boba Fett and Mando. It should take them 5 minutes to break a guy out of prison. Like, it shouldn't take long. But what do you guys think this next episode is going to be? I'm a little worried we might go that direction, but I hope it's just the first 5-10 minutes.
I think it's going to be a getting the band back together episode of.
But the whole band, we're going to go
band.
to different planets. See, that I'm down with. If it's just Bill Burr gets the whole episode to get broken into prison, that's when I'm out.
I almost wonder. I think he might be pulling the stops to get every single person that he possibly can, because so far we know that it's going to be Mando, Boba, Fennec, probably Cara Dune.
Well, I think she said, no, I'm out. She said, look, I got these stripes.
But she says no, they drag her back in.
She said, no, I'm out. But then the look she gives after he says they have.
Oh, that's right.
And then she's like,
all right.
What?
All right.
So I think she's in. And then if they get Mayfield, that's 5.
And our boy.
No, that's including Mando.
No, I meant Carl Weathers. I can't think of his character name.
Grief Karga?
Oh.
You think Grief will go?
I don't think Grief will go.
Okay.
I think that he's way more tied up in the being the town official right now. And that he's not as big into the let's get into a big firefight.
If they bring in Fish Boy to be one of those Magnificent Seven guys,
assuming they stick
come
at the
on.
number 7, they could go more, they could go less. But if they are actually trying to tie it in and go 7, which I think they might.
Yeah,
7.
I think they're gonna
It's
push for 7.
Gonna be 7. I'd be willing to put money down.
Fish Boy's in.
If it's not him,
Dude, Ahsoka.
Yeah, and
Ahsoka would be 6, and my guess is Ahsoka says, "Look, I've got a boy, little looks a lot like this Boba guy.
No,
and his name is Rex. We know Rex is
Rex.
to be.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to say Luke, and I was gonna be like, "Come on!"
No. She is saying he looks like our Boba Fett, and she's like, "Look, I've got one more. He's exactly what we need for this team. He can get us in." And they go to the planet to find Rex, and I would love that if that was because it would make sense. They're usually in Magnificent Seven. Those stories, obviously the original and the Kurosawa films. There's usually a guy who is a little bit more off the beaten path that we haven't really. Who's a little bit farther down there. We get introduced to a few guys, and then there's that one guy that shows up, tends to be the biggest, BA of them all. And I don't know about if Rex will be that, but I think Rex showing up would be cool. And I think that would make a lot of sense for Ahsoka to say, "Look, I will join you because this Grogu means a lot to me, just because we are Jedi. But let's go get my boy. Let's go get my boy." Or Sabine. We could go up. Maybe Cara Dune doesn't go, and it's Sabine, Rex, and Ahsoka, which I think would also be amazing. So what do you guys think? Do you think I would prefer getting a Sabine, Ahsoka, and Rex to be 3 of the members if we're gonna go with a straight 7, then Cara Dune. I would rather those 4 and 3 team up. I think that would be awesome. That's a lot of Mandalorians. That's a lot of wait. Oh my goodness. We got to back up here. We, in canon, got an answer to if Boba and Jango Fett are Mandalorians or not. I can't believe we skipped over that. That has been one of the most hotly debated things in canon forever. Are they Mandalorians? Because the biggest thing was that no, they're not. They don't really follow any creed. They do what they're supposed to protect. They just have the armor. And we finally get it where Boba says, "Look, my dad was a foundling. He kind of broke off of that, became a bounty hunter. He clearly didn't follow the creed because Django's taking the helmet off every 5 minutes in the prequels. But it gave a little respect between the two. And I really liked it. I like that they revealed, hey, we were at one point Mandalorian, and really followed it. Now we don't so much, or he doesn't as much. But I like that the armor's been with him forever. We should get a flashback one day. Did we get it in Clone Wars? Maybe I'm just forgetting of him like changing the color of the armor from blue to green.
I don't think we did. No.
I want a whole show of just him, like Boba's art gallery on Disney Plus, and I want him just every day taking a new piece of the armor and changing the color. Anyway,
could be what the show is.
Any thoughts? We can get back to next episode, The Magnificent Seven, but on that kind of deep cut canon reveal there.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Also, I just think it's funny that it's that like straight up on like his wrist, he's like, "Here, let me show you my family tree."
He's like, "Oh my, you were a foundling, me too." He's all pumped about it. I didn't believe you until you showed me on your wrist.
I do think that it does kind of show it's continuing to help Din Djarin as well in his story of kind of having that like being at odds with the things that he has like grown up and to know that like, oh, I'm supposed to hate these force using Jedi. That's just something I'm supposed to do. Okay, maybe not so much. Now his creed's being brought into question.
Yeah.
Also in season 1, it was like, I hate droids. I mean, when you kind of have your whole family murdered by droids, that might make sense.
Yeah.
But and then he learns to kind of accept that. So we're starting to see a lot of his worldviews, like his previous worldviews, continually being challenged, and that scene really helps out with that.
Yeah, he's looking at somebody like him who who is saying, look, we're not part of that anymore, but that doesn't mean we still don't have our own, I made a deal with you. I'm going to back you up. We have our word matters still. And I like that a lot. Kyle, did you have any thoughts on the deep canon cut there?
Honestly, I always thought that they were Mandalorian, but I'm also a very casual fan, so I guess this was a bigger deal than I realized. And I found out this episode for sure.
For the deep nerds.
Yeah, it was previously an extended canon before Disney got a hold of it. It was like they were Mandalorian. Then Disney got a hold of it, and
when they wiped the extended universe.
They wiped the extended universe,
right?
And in the Clone Wars specifically, when Kenobi comes back to Mandalore, he says, "I came into contact with one of your members, Jango Fett." And he specifically says Jango Fett was nothing but a common bounty hunter, and we have completely excommunicated him.
Okay.
And then, so in this one, that's why the nerds have been arguing about this one for an eternity. And,
had no idea.
What was the other one that he made mention of? He's like, my father fought in the Mandalorian Civil War.
Yeah,
something like that.
And I don't know if we'll actually get any sort of like exploration of that, but I mean, I'd like to find out more about that piece.
That'd be cool.
That happened for the Clone Wars. Many years later, but it happened for the Clone Wars. You never know.
You never know what next animated show that Dave Filoni's cooking up back there.
Right.
So Magnificent Seven, where do you guys think we go from here?
I think it's that. I just think next episode is going to be rounding the troops.
Are we all kind of in agreement? We think the troops, and then it'll be the big battle?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if Sabine's going to be involved. I see it more likely just being Rex if we're taking stuff from Rebels. And that's also kind of what I would like anyway. But
so was that girl not Sabine then? Isn't that still the leading theory on the water planet that is hiding and then vanishes? Because it's not the same girl who is
different character name.
Yeah, did we get the character name for her?
We did get the character name. 2 seconds.
Oh, then my bad.
Yeah, Tanner told me a while back. I can't remember the name now.
Oh, talking without me, huh?
No, you were there.
I just don't listen when you two talk. I was just sitting there being
You're
like,
always here, Al.
You're
always here. Can I talk about... Oh,
Casca Reeves is her name. Casca Reeves was
Could be a cover.
Casca Reeves was
if you take out some letters and put in different ones, it'll spell Sabine.
The female Mandalorian, and Axe Woves was the male one.
Okay. But those two weren't the one. But he sees the girl that's in the trailer shot that's looking at him, and then she vanishes. That's not the same actress, right?
Sasha Banks, yeah, it is.
That is?
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was different for some reason.
But that character must be coming into this next episode.
Do we think Bo-Katan is more likely to be part of the Magnificent Seven, and they go get other Mandos compared to Ahsoka?
That. No.
Well,
I don't think so.
I mean, that brings up an interesting point, but I don't think. I think that my gut instinct tells me that Bo-Katan is so focused on her own objectives right now that she's like, nah, I'm good.
But her objective aligns. What? Go ahead.
How's he going to get in contact with her again, considering like how much he's on the move right now?
I mean, he'll find a way. He's got Boba Fett with him. He's got Boba Fett. They'll find a way.
The writer's room? Yeah, he'll find a way.
They just space trucking in the galaxy and they wave at each other out of their
wants the Darksaber. And obviously Mando doesn't know that he has the Darksaber, but she wants it, so they do have common ground there. And maybe Boba Fett had done some dealings with them and he knows. I don't know. Ahsoka makes the most sense. He knows exactly where she is, and he knows that, look, we need some legit firepower on this thing. And Bill Burr being with an Ahsoka, I think, would be a great combo of Bill Burr comedy and kind of one-liners he gives out to be the guy that's going to get them into where they need to go is going to be is going to be cool, I think.
I
Because
wasn't a stormtrooper, asshole.
yeah, like him talking to Ahsoka and Rosario Dawson's great portrayal of Ahsoka and her wisdom compared to this guy just complaining about everything with his little third handgun. Like it'll be a fun episode if we get that.
I for sure think it's Magnificent Seven, considering that George Lucas specifically said his favorite film of all time is The Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
Or sorry, was it Seven Samurai or Magnificent Seven?
Well, the Seven Samurai is where it comes from, those old samurai movies. Yes, I think he loves them both, but he's really inspired by the Jedi came from those Kurosawa films, Seven Samurai. And then that, because the Seven Samurai or this Magnificent Seven is just a remake of that. It's just a westernized remake.
It's effectively a shot-for-shot remake, but I'm just, like, specifically, I was watching an interview this last week as he was talking about, like, that is, like, definitively my favorite film, and I'm just upset. I don't remember which one it is, even though they're shot-for-shot. Magnificent Seven's a shot-for-shot remake. But that's the only, like, the main reason I think that Filoni's going to be like, you know what? I'm actually going to do a Magnificent Seven in the Star Wars universe, and especially with the Mandalorian already being this spaghetti western / samurai.
It makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. But my question is like, are there any other players in that Magnificent Seven lineup that we might think be coming in or might not? Because I would think that the Mando needs to be able to just quickly come up to someone and say, hey, they have Grogu, you gonna help? And then that person has to be like, I'm in, let's do this thing, let's go get baby Grogu. So that makes me think, like we talked about Ahsoka. Rex is an interesting poll, but I'm not sure if they would actually have Temuera Morrison play two different people.
It was announced he was going to be in this season.
Wait, that Rex was going to be in this season?
Yeah. Do you not remember that, Kyle?
Actually, I do remember that.
They announced that.
Don't worry, guys. I'm the memory
Boba
guy.
Fett and Rex in this season, which I always thought meant that we wouldn't see them together. But it's not going to be too hard if Rex is being the old man Rex that we know of him, and he's not necessarily armored up. You can put somebody else in the armor for Boba Fett and then just do dubbing.
That's true.
So it could happen pretty easily. This is also being directed, and it was written by Rick Famuyiwa, I believe is how you say his name, and he did the Prisoner episode, which was the one with
Bill
Burr last time.
Yeah.
Which I liked the episode. I know a lot of people didn't love the episode. They were more filler to Jon Favreau's story that he wrote. This time they've written everything out at once. But I think this would make sense if they're going to go get the band together. I think this is a good episode for him to do. I really like the band getting together idea, and then them going after in like Boba Fett's ship would be so cool. All of them going to go take him out.
Sorry, Al, I didn't mean to interrupt. Didn't he direct the Magnificent Seven remake with like Chris Pratt and
Did Rick?
I thought maybe he did.
I'll look it up right now. I've got it up right now.
Because I don't know why that just popped in my head, but I was like, wait a minute, there was a literal remake like a few years ago. Wasn't it the same guy?
No, you're confusing. You're confusing him with the man who made what's that Denzel Washington, The Equalizer and Training Day. You're confusing him with him.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think their names both do start with Rick, and I could be also mispronouncing his name, which wouldn't help either. But I'll look up who you're thinking of.
Thought I found a cut of some kind, but nope, not this time.
So as far as I know, I know right before we were gonna get the Mandalorian, I ended up hearing a lot of rumors about like Rex and whatnot being in there. But as far as I know, is that they only announced that Temuera Morrison is 100% being cast in there. Then everyone came out and was talking about oh, who's he going to be? Is he going to be Boba Fett? Is he going to be Rex? Is he going to be both? I don't know if there was any confirmation on him being Rex, but I mean, I could be blowing smoke out of my tuchus.
I mean, if you have the actor and good makeup artist, I guess why not?
You were thinking of Anton Fuqua.
Oh yeah, those are I don't know. Sorry, completely different guys.
Oh, interesting.
Huh. What, Tanner?
Oh, I think there was a piece of artwork from that Dave Filoni tweeted between Ahsoka and what looks like Rex that are like wandering out in the desert, and everyone is like, "Oh my God, is it gonna be it?"
Mm-hmm. So maybe.
Or do we roll in with 6 and the 7th person winds up being the Jedi that was called?
That would be cool too. Especially, I mean, look, if it is Luke, then you do that. Because that would get fanboys losing. I mean, even the casual fan, if all of a sudden it is a young Luke Skywalker, it is Sebastian Stan that they cast, and they went with what the fans wanted since he looks like young Mark Hamill. He's jacked. He would be exactly what you want at a Luke Skywalker that time. That to me, if they do that, and if we get 6 on the dot, 6 guys, and they go in and it leads into the next episode, for sure the 7th one is showing up. If Ahsoka is not one of the 6, then I think Ahsoka's possible that she shows up and she received this. She also sensed the signal Grogu put out or something. I don't know. But if it's Luke, and Luke caught that signal while he's out, I believe, if I'm correct on my timeline, that right now him and Lando are out looking for Jedi relics together, I believe, at this time, and kind of searching the galaxy before he starts getting a temple together. I believe Ben is just recently been born. And he's pretty young, I think, which makes sense because Leia's going to be in the capital. Han is in the capital with her from the Last Shot novel with Lando. I think if it's Luke, could you imagine a young Luke and like Donald Glover coming back as Lando, showing up to help out? Like, I'd lose my mind.
I can't imagine
lose my mind. I would lose it. If there is 6 guys on the dot and Ahsoka's one of them, Luke Skywalker to me is the most likely candidate to be a surprise pick, because you can't have an Ezra, I think, show up. You can't have a nobody that people don't know as well, because Ezra's a deep cut guy. Cal Kestis is a deep cut guy, and they could do it, but I think if you don't, you have to go with a huge name like a Luke Skywalker, which people would lose their absolute minds, because I would, and I kind of want to lose my mind.
It'll just be so weird for me seeing just a guy who's just ripped as all heck.
Sebastian
be like, no, I swear, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm not. I just, after killing the Emperor, even though that's not what I did, I just became really like that for me would just be like it'd be cool, but I'd be like, the connection there.
Okay, you gotta relax.
Kid, and you look like me.
You gotta relax. My reason was
funny.
saying he's
it's funny to think of
is because Jedi, their Force ability gets stronger as they get older because they're constantly training and getting better. So their wisdom is up, their strength in the Force is up, because they've continued to do that. So like a Luke in episode 8, obviously he's not primed up for physically fighting.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've always wanted to see, and it was the biggest thing I remember hearing when The Force Awakens, after it had come out, is I want to see a Luke Skywalker use the Force and rip a Star Destroyer out of the sky. And if I don't get that, I'm going to get really mad. That's what people did. And
yeah,
if we got a primed up Luke who isn't as connected to the Force, but physically is able to just demolish guys, that is something we haven't really seen. We've seen him fight in episode 6 and 5, but we haven't really seen him, especially with the modern tech and the things we have, to help make it look awesome. That's what I mean when I say that, because I want him to just go and light people. If we got him, I want to see him do that. I want him in this black cloak, green lightsaber, just obliterating guys. Like if he just showed up and did some awesome stuff, I'd lose my mind. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to get all 7 of them, and they're going to go and be the characters we have. I think Kyle's right with the Jedi being whoever it is will be next episode. I'd be very surprised if they put a brand new Jedi we had never heard of to come and take Grogu. And if it is, I think you got to get a big actor. I don't think you can get just a no-name anybody and have that play super great if it's a surprise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, what are you guys thinking here?
The inner Star Wars fan is excited about something like that happening, but me, I do not want Luke Skywalker to come in.
I don't necessarily want it, but you'd lose your mind too.
I just don't know 100%. Like I again, inner Star Wars fan, I would see it and I'd be like, oh my god! But
you poop your pants.
I just don't. I just want to stay away from those original trilogy characters.
I get that. I am with you too.
Keep them over here, because it just sometimes one of the criticisms I level against Star Wars is that sometimes we do a great job of referencing. Of either making callbacks or references that like really work because they're helping the story or it just makes sense. But there's so many different times where it's just like, oh, we're going to drop this person in here because we know they get views, when I think that you could tell a far more interesting story. And that's where, also not to mention, we've seen the propensity for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to literally say, it's like we're the little kids that are playing in the sandbox again, but we have brothers hand-me-down toys. Like he gets to go play off with like Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han and Chewie, but we've been given like little Gonk droids or like IG-88, and so they're pulling all those different references from really cool and like deep cut places, and that's where I think that they're going to continue going along that path.
Yeah. I think Ahsoka and Rex is the most likely round out of the crew. But
dude, I'm not gonna lie, if they brought Cal Kestis back and
that would be cool.
Was the one, I would lose my mind more if Cal Kestis was the deep cut pull than Luke Skywalker.
The problem is it's just his age, and I don't want a new actor.
Well,
the story we have with takes place much earlier, and this is like 40 years later for him. 30 years later for him as a teen when he's out on his own, isn't it?
Well, so he's there during the events of like Saw Gerrera and Rebels.
Yeah, but a young Saw. No, it's the Clone Wars Saw that is.
It's the old Saw.
Next. Oh, I guess it is because they had what's his face reprise the role.
Put Cully.
Well, I'd have to look into that. If it is, and they brought him in, I'd be happy, because as long as the actor fits with the age, because I want that. I don't want a new actor. He is so talented. I can't remember his name, but he's on Shameless. He was in Gotham. He is awesome. I want him.
His age roughly would be somewhere around like 30.
Okay, they could make that work.
I mean, that actor is 30. He looks young, but I'm pretty sure like he's older than us.
He looks older in these later episodes of Shameless. They definitely de-aged him in the video game a bit because they needed him to be younger.
Yeah,
but
I think there's a possibility maybe make him look a little bit more grizzled, a little bit more some effects.
Put a beard on him.
I think he'd be.
Put the Joker makeup back on him.
That would be kind of more deep cut than Ezra, don't you think?
Ezra
makes a lot of sense.
And Ezra, I think, is the easy pick.
And I hope it's not Ezra, to be honest. But I'm still at that boat where I like how Rebels ended, and I'm fine with the mystery box.
Right. Do you think...
Get out of here, JJ. Mystery box.
Do you have a little bit more of... Kyle, do you think you have a leaning as to who it might be?
between those three Jedi that we brought up.
Either the three Jedi, or if it's or even someone else that you might not even be thinking about.
Yoda.
I know Ezra's the easy choice, but I don't know. They brought up Thrawn. They have Ahsoka in this show. I could see it being really possible that they find Ezra. Like
It
I
makes
think
a
that
lot
would be
of
the
sense.
choice I'd lean to.
When we meet
Yeah.
Ahsoka, she's not off with.
And he's still. Sorry, you go.
She's not with Sabine, where it ends in Rebels, where they're going off on this buddy quest adventure to go find Ezra. She's looking for Thrawn, and if she thinks they're together, that would make sense, and it would be using the Thrawn name would be a way to kind of, again, subvert your expectations from thinking Ezra. But where would Sabine have been? Did they split up for a reason? I like the Ezra poll. I really like Ezra as a character. Him toying with the light and the dark, I've always really enjoyed. And with Grogu kind of going that way, it would make sense for an Ezra to be like, no, let me take care of him. We did get the tease too when we met Ahsoka with the owls, who tend to be watchers of the wills from Rebels and kind of connected to the Force. Yeah. And so it could be something like that. We could get, what is the name, Tanner? Do you remember of the creature who is neither light nor dark, but is part of the Force? Do you remember that they met on the desert?
That's like the
starts with a B, doesn't it?
The monkey owl that is constantly following around Ahsoka.
Well, there's the owl, but there's like the big creature in the sand who comes out and talks to Kanan when he's blind.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bendu.
The Bendu.
Yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the name. I knew it started with a B. I wonder if we meet a creature like that who says, hey, let me take Grogu and teach him the ways of both sides, since he is having a tough time right now, and I'll teach him the truth, which is balance, which Ahsoka has kind of come to be more of a gray Jedi.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that would be an interesting play because of everything we've seen. I don't know if they'll get too mystical, but that would be interesting too, since we've gotten the teases of the owls and that the wills are kind of watching. A Luke makes sense in a way with the sequel trilogy if he's going to be setting up a Jedi temple soon. Ezra would be cool. I'm really all right with anybody. A no-name guy I'm okay with. I'm just not okay with that being like the big like if you're going to build up to a big reveal, I don't think you should put in a no-name actor and a new Jedi. I think if that person meets them in this next episode and then joins the team, I think it works better. But
I think casual fans like me would be okay with it, but it's definitely like, the more hardcore Star Wars fans that are probably wanting it to be like a Luke or an Ezra type. Like, so I get it. Like, maybe it can work either way, but I get the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think any of them would work pretty well. I think all the people we're talking about, they can really make work to fit this story. Do we actually think it's going to end with them getting Grogu back?
Yeah.
Yep. Do we? Well,
this season.
Does Gideon die? Do they kill him this season, or do they just get Grogu back?
I wonder if Gideon is under Thrawn's orders right now, and I wonder if he loses, and they think, hey, we're about to get Grogu back. And then all of a sudden at a hyperspace, boom, a huge Star Destroyer appears. And it's some actor as Grand Admiral Thrawn. See, to me, you don't need – Thrawn is a big enough deep cut as a big Star Wars fan. You don't need a serious actor in there. There's a few names I've heard that I'd be down with. But if you get anybody, I'm just cool as long as they fit the character. But if Thrawn, just him, shows up and he then takes Grogu – and so Mando thinks we've won and then they've lost and maybe somebody does die. And then they take off and it's like, okay, we are doing next season to go get him again. I would be okay with that because I think it would be a big gut punch. And I think sometimes Star Wars needs bigger gut punches. I think this episode worked because it was a gut punch, even though we did kind of talk that this might be a possibility that they take Grogu and they have to go get a Magnificent Seven style. If they do that and lose, I think that's a bigger gut punch. And if Mando, like, half his Beskar is like ripped off in some big battle, you know, he's bleeding, he's dying, and everybody's kind of lost, and they thought they pulled through at the end and they didn't. And even though they beat Moff Gideon, they didn't realize that there's always another guy in the Empire waiting to come get you. That would be a nice way to end. If they end all happy-go-lucky, I'm all right with that, but they need to give us some tease on where we're going next season. Unless for some reason they ended and announced that this was it, that they were only doing the 2. I don't think they've technically announced it's been renewed. It is a mini series. It could end at any moment. So, but I think ending with Thrawn showing up and taking Yodes again would be cool. I think fans would complain. I think a lot of hard cut fans who are upset that they're not getting plot enough would get upset that we're just doing the same thing now a second time. But I think if they really lose, you know, they get the hero moment where it's like at the end of the day we've won, and then they actually don't. I think that would be really cool.
I really like that idea. Like, let's end this with an Empire Strikes Back gut.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
We lost, and we just got to recover from that. I'm all about that.
Like when Star Wars loses, because that's where the New Hope comes in. That's where you want that, you know, the return of the Jedi kind of feeling when it's like, hey, we've got to get the band back together here. We got to kind of regroup and go at it again. And maybe then that's when Thrawn shows up, takes him out, takes him, and then a Luke or a new character does show up when they lose and is like, let me save you. That would work a little bit better, as long as it's not built up to be we're really losing, we need someone to save the day. If it's like we've lost and someone shows up and says, let me help you. And it could be Sabine too. Sabine could be the hero. Maybe Sabine goes and gets Bo-Katan and an army of Mandalorians show up to help. That's possible.
That was one of the other ideas that I was thinking, is that like Mandalorian gets these like quote unquote big figureheads of like Mayfield and Ahsoka and Rex and whoever, and then also happens to go talk to Bo-Katan and he's like, I really need your help, and if you help me with this, I will help you with Mandalore.
Yeah, if that would work too. We talked about that happening, where maybe the next season also could focus more on Mandalore. If they get Baby Yoda's back and maybe Ahsoka ends up taking him and nobody answered the call, and I don't know. That was a big call. I think somebody had to answer. But
someone saw it.
Yeah, I do. I that might make a lot of sense too if he goes to Ahsoka and she is the 7th, and she says, "Hey, let me," or she like quietly sends like a signal, like we get a shot on the ship where she like hides away and hits a couple buttons and just kind of looks stoic, and then all of a sudden it was to Sabine saying, "Hey, you're with Rex. I need you to go get Bo-Katan. I need you to go get some Mandalorians and meet us here, because I don't think we're going to win this battle with just this small crew Mando's got." And then they show up. I think that works when you get a bunch of the B characters you love. Well, Sabine's not a B character, but a lot of these characters that aren't necessarily the saga characters.
Right.
And they show up. If it's Sabine, Ezra, a bunch of Mandalorians, Bo-Katan, that would be cool if the army is just too big for them and they need their own army. You know, that's also a Star Wars moment we've seen a lot of times that would make sense when kind of the big crew shows up to help out. So I'd be down with that. Kyle, what do you think of any of this as we wrap up here?
No, I do like that too. Like if they end on the note that they lost and Baby Yoda is still out there, like I would totally be okay with that. Again, just with the Rebels characters, like I don't mind like not going and digging through the well, kind of like with, you know, taking characters from the original trilogy and whatnot. Like I'm fine with some things just being as separate as possible, but you know, just with these things, I need to see how they get played out. But I would like it if, you know, Star Wars was doing different stuff still. Like we're seeing this show doing different stuff still, having the right callbacks at the right time, but at least doing different stuff. So if they have it be to where it's an ending where instead of Moff Gideon, it's going to be Thrawn that comes in and is the big bad, and it also ends on that low point, then yeah, I think I would be really down for that.
Oh.
Tanner, any final thoughts as we wrap up here? Got a couple minutes left.
Why didn't they blow up the Slave One? I don't understand.
Moff Gideon might not be as aware of Boba Fett and just who that person was, and
yeah, I mean, I guess
the ship over there.
I guess I put myself in Gideon's shoes, and it's like, it might be expensive to fire this laser like twice, but like, work. There's 2 ships down there, so let's make sure nobody gets off the planet. Boom, boom.
Yeah. Real quick, a scene I also really loved. Obviously, I love the whole scene when Grogu is flying stormtroopers around, and our maybe greatest villain actor ever is talking to Esposito is talking to him when he pulls out the dark saber. We didn't touch on that, but that is a really cool moment where he pulls out. He's like, "Have you seen one of these before?" And Grogu even kind of looks like, "Yeah, I have. This guy's got a saber." But you can tell Grogu, I think, gets to look like, I have seen a saber before, but I have not seen that saber before. And that is really cool. I am excited to get a fight if Moff Gideon has been trained up a little bit and he is going to go to town with Ahsoka on this big fight. I would be for that. I think that would be really cool. And if an Ezra shows up, or a Cal Kestis or Luke to kind of help her in the fight, maybe he's been trained very well. I don't know, but that'd be interesting. I like this episode. I think we know what's coming next, which is okay, because even though we've been getting some good guesses, I think they've still done a good job of kind of keeping the ship on track. If Game of Thrones taught me anything, because the big narrative forever in Game of Thrones was Dan and Dave can do no wrong, and then they did quite a bit wrong. I'm not going to say that with John and Dave. They've taught me, or Game of Thrones taught me, that you can do wrong. But right now, the ship is sailing smoothly, and I'm not going to worry about an iceberg until I see it. You know what I mean? With Dan and Dave, we saw it, and then I got in denial. I won't get into denial this time, but I will be a little more nervous. Right now, I trust them. If Luke Skywalker's the way they have this going, I trust what they have. I may not like it when I see it, but I trust them at this point to give me something really good.
One last thing that totally re-popped back up into my mind. Did anyone else get any Fat Thor vibes when we saw Boba Fett in his armor for the first time?
Little dad
no.
But it was all good. Have you seen the images of the actor who played Boba Fett for episode 6 and 5?
Yes.
And he's got like a mustache. And he's not
like
a
70s
dude at all. Yeah.
70s mustache and glasses on.
Yeah.
That's so fitting.
In the outfit, he's not necessarily. It was like, hey, we've got this like prop guy, or we need in the suit. Like that's who it was. I love those old Star Wars shots. You see like the boom mic guy, and he's in like the pink like short shorts, like he's just up there, and George is running around with his giant beard, and he's in like a flannel shirt still, and they're in the desert. I love those old Star Wars stuff.
Those old reels. Oh, they're so good.
All right, guys. Why don't Kyle? Any final thing? We've got another minute, and then we got a caller here today. But any final word anybody's got?
Dark Troopers. Don't like them
didn't
yet.
Do much.
No,
I like them.
They look cool,
lot, but I like them. They didn't look cool. And I don't know. A good Star Wars object looking cool.
It didn't look that cool to me personally. I need to see more of them. It was obviously like a quick in and out, but like for their first appearance, I was like,
it did remind me a bit of Ultron. Like when his army is flying around, it reminded me a bit of Ultron, especially
reminded
with
me
the
of
rockets
Sentinels
out
so.
of the feet. Yeah, Sentinels works. But I think if we get to really see them in action, I think my tunes will change. I mean, Tanner and I think, are a little more giddy about it than Kyle over here. But I did get that vibe. But all they were doing was going down and going up. Like it's
exactly. So I was like, that's the introduction. All right.
I'm excited. I'm excited for them. I don't know if you guys actually saw in like the last little painting that they had. They were like walking up to Baby Yoda with these giant blasters that they normally have. Oh,
I
dude,
love the artwork they show off. I love it. It reminds me so much of the greatness. Look, the coolest thing about the prequels, and they're kind of doing it with the sequel trilogy, and they kind of done it on Disney Plus, is they gave us so much behind the scenes. Like those old documentaries for the prequels. I mean, my brother and I watched that maybe more than we watched the DVDs of the actual movies, because it was just so cool to see who came up with what George liked, why he did or didn't like them. And I miss that. And I like that they give us a little bit of that with The Mandalorian, with the after show,
Absolutely.
the round table, and then the kind of after episode stuff. But
yeah.
All right. Well, I think for this episode, the tragedy, we have wrapped it here. Thanks for tuning in, Move It Mills fans. The 24 of you or so that are watching these after shows, but we love putting them out. So remember to like, subscribe, share. Go check out Kyle and I's sports podcast. If for some reason you're watching the whole way through and you're a fan of sports and you haven't, it's on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. It's at the Get Back Guys. Anybody need to plug anything? No? Just love.
I think we're good.
Love.
Sweaters are cool.
Star Wars. Yes,
That's my plug.
all right. And thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.
Bye.